equations like this. And do you remember? They had to be equal to 0. And once they were equal to 0, then we factored. And this particular one, x and x, what does it have to be to get this in the middle? Negative and positive. To get a negative, what will this have to be? And like that. And the idea is, Ezra, to sit still and watch. The idea is I multiply this times this, and I get an answer of 0. What does that mean? That was either this thing, oops, it's a minus, either this thing was equal to 0, or this one was equal to 0, or they could both be equal to 0. Remember that? And then we solved both of these and got the solution. Well, here's what's different today. It's this.
Oh.
No.
Stop. Stop. So that means you're going to have to do a little bit of thinking. I am multiplying two things together, and I get an answer that's greater than 0. Well, first of all, what do we call numbers that are greater than 0?
Positive.
They're positives, right? Numbers that are greater than 0 are positive. That's what you have to ask yourself first. Then you have to ask, how can I multiply these two things and end up with a positive answer? How do you multiply two numbers and get a positive? What could it be, Will? Exactly. A negative times negative, or it could be a positive times a positive, right? Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? We have to go over here and do both. We have to start with one possibility is if I have a negative and a negative, and the other possibility is if I have a positive and a positive. What could it be? The two quantities are both negative, or those two quantities, x take away 3, x plus 2, are both positive. And we have to actually work them out for both.
Is that your secret box?
That is my secret box. I don't see any reds. I'm going to go have to steal some from the office.
Why don't you just
Guess I'll
ask?
use-
There's a red in your cup.
It's better if you just ask them this, man.
There's a red in your cup.
I don't like that one.
Okay.
There's like 3 of
Why do
them.
you think it's in the cup, man?
So, what does it mean to be positive again? Greater than 0. So what does it mean if it's negative then?
Less than 0.
Less than 0. So that means if this thing is negative, it's less than 0. And at the same time, because they both have to be negative to get a positive, this thing is also negative, less than 0. And we're going to work those out just like we did before, right? You're going to add 3, add 3. This looks like red. So there's one possibility. The other possibility, x less than negative 2. And it's an and. Do you remember what do you have to have with an and? They both have to be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I go down here on my number line, where is x less than 3? Here, that away. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
X less than negative 2. That'd be here, this way. But it's an and. Remember when we did ands before in chapter 2? And is where they both have to happen, right? Where do they both happen?
Less than negative 2.
Yes. So from negative 2 that way, that's where it would solve. So any number that we pick is less than negative 2 will work in this thing back here that we started with. But now don't forget we have the other possibility that they both could be positive. What kind of number is positive? How do we write that? Greater than 0, right. So this thing has to be bigger than 0, positive. And at the same time, this one, I guess I don't need a parenthesis, x plus 2 also has to be positive. And then solve it just like we did the others. And then solve it just like we did the others. So x greater than 3 is one possibility. And x greater than negative 2. So I'll make my number line.
I have myself some notes.
X greater than 3. Where would that be? That way. X greater than negative 2. Here, that way. Where do they both happen?
3.
And this way. Like that? So what does your answer end up being? The answer ends up being either one of those. It could be both. So I make a new number line. The good number line. Told you you'd have to pay attention. So what's my answer then? My answer is any x that's less than negative 2 will work. And also any x that's greater than 3 will work. So this whole thing right there, this one down here, where I put both of those together, that's my answer. Both of these two together down on the bottom, that's your answer. And I believe if you look in the book, they might write it like this. X greater than 3, x less than negative 2. That's fine too. Yes, sir?
Are you always just going to be able to flip the direction of the arrows on the number line?
No, as will be seen in 2 seconds when we do the next one.
Yeah.
Anybody with questions so far?
Does it get harder?
Well, not really, but you have to actually think about it. What is it, 4 minus t squared?
Is this gonna be on like the test?
Shh, it is.
Is this gonna be?
First of all, you have to have 0 on one of the sides, which we don't have. That'd be the easiest part, and I think I like my t squared positive, so I'm going to minus 4 and add t squared. I'm going to minus 4 and add t squared. So I have 0 on this side. Over here, you have to put it in order. T squared plus 3t, take away 4. After you have 0 on one side, then what are you going to do?
Solve it.
Factor it first. And it's going to be t and t. What will I need for 4 to get 3 in the middle?
1 and 4.
It's negative, so what's this going to be? What's this going to be?
Negative.
Right. Next thing I need to look at is this over here. Less than 0. What kind of numbers are less than 0? Negative. So over here I have negative, and I'm multiplying this times this is negative. How do I multiply two things and get a negative answer?
Negative, positive.
One of each?
Yeah.
However, look up here. The first one could be positive and the second one negative, or the reverse could be true. This one could be the negative and that one the positive. And we have to consider both cases. The first case is a plus and a minus, and the second case, minus, plus. And what were the factors again? They were t plus 4 and t minus 1. What were they? T plus 4 and t minus 1. Like that. So this first case, this one is positive. By the way, how do I write positive again? Greater than 0. And at the same time, this one is negative. How do I write that it's negative?
Less than 0.
Less than 0. And I have to solve those. So what am I going to do here? Minus 4 minus 4. T greater than negative 4. This one plus 1 plus 1. Greater than negative 4. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, greater than negative 4 would be here this way. Less than 1, here, this way. And is where they overlap. It's got to be and. Where do they overlap?
Between 1
Between.
and 1.
Right. So any value that I pick in here will work back here in our original. What's your question? Sorry.
How do you know when to like switch around the greater than less than something?
Right, that's when you have to think, okay, if this one is negative, what would it have to be? A positive times a negative or a negative times a positive? So then over here, okay, what does it mean to be positive? It means greater than 0. What does it mean to be negative? It means less than 0. Now we're going to do the opposite over here,
Yeah.
right? This one is the negative. What does it mean to be negative, Travis?
To be less than 0.
Right, so this one has to be less than 0. And at the same time, this one's got to be positive. So what does this one have to be if it's positive?
Negative.
Greater than 0.
Oh.
If it's positive, it's got to be negative.
Wow.
I just saw minus. So.
It doesn't have anything to do with this. Some of you are going to look and try to say, oh, it's positive because of this, and it's negative. No. It goes by the sign of this whole quantity has to be negative, less than 0. This whole quantity positive, greater than 0. Now we have to solve those. Minus 4 minus 4. And
Not too bad.
plus 1 plus 1. Number line.
What?
Number line. Remember, this is an and. Do you have a question?
No.
Less than negative 4. Less than, to the left. Greater than 1. Where is it greater than 1? Here, to the right. Where do they overlap? It's an and. Right. So don't say no solution. It's just that this second case gives us no answers. We still over here have all of these between negative 4 and 1. So in this particular problem, just the answers from case 1 are our final answer. There aren't any answers on this side because they don't overlap. But it's not that you have no solution. You still have all of them from case 1. So, there we go. Do you have questions? Yes?
Do you have any quarters?
I do. I keep them hidden. That's good, Cole.